Here's another example. The sides of a roof suggest congruent triangles. What is the measure of angle 1? Right. So we have two triangles that are congruent. What is the measure of angle 1? So angle 1 corresponds with this angle here, right? So if we know this is 90 and this is 48, we know that these two have to be complementary, right? So the sum of the angles have to be 180. So if we subtract 90, that leaves 90 for these remaining two angles. So that's why they have to be complementary. So 90 minus 48 is 42. And so since they correspond, this angle should also be 42, right? Here we have some algebraic type examples. So triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Find the measures of the given angles of the lengths of the given measures of the given angles or the lengths of the given sides. So ABC is congruent to DEF, so angle B corresponds with angle E, right? So if they correspond, they must be congruent, right? So we know that 3y should equal 6y minus 12, right? Because this is congruent to this. And so we can just solve for y by subtracting 6y on both sides. And we get negative 3y equals negative 12. We can divide by negative 3. And so we get y equals 4. And so now we can plug it in to find the given angle. So angle B equals 3y. So I'm going to put 4 in for y. So that would equal 12, right? 12. And of course, that's going to also be equal to the measure of angle E. All right, and I'll put degrees for good measure. So we're talking about angles. So the sides, so BC and EF, right? So BC, since the last two letters there should correspond with EF, they do correspond, and so they should be equal. And so I can set up that equation, 3z plus 2 equals z plus 6. We can subtract z on both sides to get our z's on the same side. And while we're at it, we can subtract 2 to get our numbers on the other side. So we get 2z on the left equals 4 on the right. And we can divide both sides by 2. So z equals 2. All right, so now we can plug that in. I'll plug it into EF because that's easy. 2 plus 6 is 8. So EF equals 8. And BC must also equal 8. So in this example, we're given a congruent statement. CAT equals triangle CAT equals or is congruent to triangle DOG, right? So triangle cat is congruent to triangle dog. Go figure. So find all possible values for an additional point that makes those two triangles congruent, right? So I'm going to plot triangle CAT first. So C is at 1, 2. So that's here. A is at 4, 2. So 4, 2 is here. And then T is at 2, 4. So 2, 4 is right here. All right. All right, so we want to make congruent triangles. So let's plot DOG. So D, 6, 4. Right here, 6, 7. Is going to be right here. Okay, so this side is the only side we know for DO, right? And let me label these. So this is CAT, and then for DO, this is DO. Okay, so CA, so this should be congruent to this, right, with DO. So those should be congruent, and that's the case, right, because this distance is from 1 to 4, so that's 3 units, and from 4 to 7 is also 3 units. Okay, so then we need this next point to make, for G, needs to be, make these two sides congruent with these two sides, right? So we can either do it this way, or we could do it this way, right? Or we could do it on the other side, this way, or this way. Okay, so we have a few different options. So I'm going to kind of use a slope here. So one thing I could do from C is I can go to get from C to T is I can go up 2 and over 1, right? So instead of going up and over, I'm going to go, instead of going up and right, I'm going to go from D, I'm going to go right and up. So I'm going to go right 2 and up 1. So that would give me a new coordinate for G, and that would be at 8, 5, right? So that would be one possibility, 8, 5. Okay. Now I could do the same thing from O, but the problem is then we want this DG to correspond with CT, right? And that wouldn't be the case if I did that from O. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is, use a different color, I could go from D to G the other way. So I could go left 2 and up 1. And that would give me the same length as this, right? And then connect the other dot. So, all right, so the coordinates of that would be 4, 5, right? So 4, 5 would be the other possibility.